Hello, my interior design family. I'm so excited to see you here. And today we're all things Christmas, as it has been in this series. We're talking about the Enchanted Forest. This is pretty much a story about luxury in nature. So if you're excited to go onto this little journey with me, then continue watching. I have 8 steps for you to be able to follow to bring in this enchanted forest feeling into your home this Christmas. The first of these, as always, is we're going to talk about your color scheme. When it comes to the color scheme for the Enchanted Forest, we are looking at deep emeralds and those really deep forest greens. And in the materials, we want to go for moss and velvet. We want the feeling of that velvety moss feeling that feels like luxury in the forest. And we want to have those deep green colors. So with that, let's move on to the next exciting bit, which is creating the Christmas tree. And I personally love the sight of an enchanted forest Christmas tree. And how do we create that? Well, the first thing is we want to make sure we're using a lot of glass. We want it to look like the tree has been frosted over, and it's just the morning. You're waking up in the morning and there's frost all over the tree. So if you keep that image of frost, we want to also bring in icicles, right? To make it more enchanted. So what we're going to have is a lot of glass, and I want you to bring glass in different shapes. So I want you to have the round bubbles of glass and just drips of glass. And a fun way, a more elevated and luxurious way, is also by adding beads, right? You can add silver beads, glass beads, or even wooden beads, because it is an enchanted forest. But beads definitely add to that enchanted feeling, well, especially if you go for glass beads, and then you also add on glass or silver beads, and then you add on those very fine drooping bubbles as well on the Christmas tree that are made of glass, and you just have this Christmas tree that looks like it just frosted over. And with this tree, I would recommend to keep it that simple in terms of layering different types of glass bubbles in different shapes and different sizes, and then you could add on let's say velvet emerald or velvet forest green bows. And I know the Christmas tree is already green, but then you add on a deeper green to it, and it just creates more of a luxury but then also forest feeling, where there's not so much color and interruption to the forest essence of this Christmas tree. So it is just very luxurious. Now that we've talked about the tree and all the glass and beads that we're going to be using on it, this is a perfect time to talk about the third step. The third step is to swap out gold. So I know I'm a lover of gold on the tree, but for this enchanted forest feeling, we want to swap out our gold elements in that space we're decorating, for example, a living room or a dining room or whatever room you're decorating and will be entertaining in. You want to swap out, for example, gold vases or gold tableware for things such as silver and brass, and this just makes the whole place look a little more frosted, a little more muted, and definitely fits into this theme. So we're swapping out those metallics. You could even bring in some glass, so example glass vases. This is the perfect place to use that. So we're swapping out the gold to bring in that enchanted forest. Morning, you've just woken up in the forest in the morning, and it's kind of like still frosted over, and it's just enchanting. Now that we have our muted metals, right, with that brass and silver, we then add in some light. And of course, the light, we still wanted to have that warm light that you would find in a forest. So the best way to do that is by using candles, and also using candles of different thicknesses and candles of different heights. So you can arrange beautiful arrangements on your tablescape that have candles of different heights. You could use the same theme of having different thicknesses and different heights of candles on your mantle, right? And that would just bring in that warmth that you can expect to see in a forest, right? Like you're out in the forest and just starting a fire, so like it's just nice and just enchanting in a way. Or you're walking down an enchanted forest and you see a little bit of light over there and you're like, oh, what is that, and it just adds a bit of a glow to the entire Christmas feeling. So definitely go in and get candles in different heights and different thicknesses for more of that forest feeling, and the light does add a bit of luxury. And of course, do remember that you don't have to use real candles. You can go for fall candles, like really nice ones with warm lighting to them, and they also have a similar effect and is way safer. So yeah, definitely recommend, and I can't wait for you. I was going to say I can't wait to see what you create, but I might not be able to see, but I can't wait for you to experience this enchanted forest Christmas. The next step is to bring in your foraging. And I know we haven't been foraging, but we can pretend that you went out in the forest and you foraged you got a few things, and you're going to bring back a basket of everything you foraged in the forest, and you're going to use these in your decorations. You will use this as part of your decorations. If you have like a tray with those candles we're talking about, you can add on some of these kind of items on the tray. You could also add the same items on a tablescape, right, a dining table. So what kind of items am I talking about? I'm talking about things such as pine cones, right? I'm talking about branches. I'm talking about any dried foliage that you might have been able to get in the forest. Of course, we're buying this in store, but we're pretending that we have foraged. So we want to get things that look foraged, and those dried branches, and you could arrange those dried branches really beautifully in a glass vase, and it will just bring in that enchanted forest earthiness feeling to the place, right? And you could sprinkle the pine cones all over your tablescape or on your mantle, and it just creates a beautiful enchanted forest feeling. And then when it comes to your tablescape, we have already talked about those candles, and of course when we talk about those candles, we don't want them to be like a spotlight. We want them to be warm and inviting, right? So we have already talked about those candles of different heights and different thicknesses. And then what else can we add to our tablescape? Well, we can add edible luxury, right? So we're talking things such as chestnuts, right? We're talking things such as berries. This will really give it that foraged, enchanted forest feeling. It will feel like you're only having things you have actually found in the forest. So having your tablescape with things such as eucalyptus, evergreens, right? Chestnuts, berries, paired in with that warm lighting from the candles, that creates a very beautiful forest feeling. And then of course, because I love to go deeper than just what we see and what we touch, I would also want to bring in another sense, which is our sense of smell. So for this enchanted forest, one of the best scents you can get is a scent that has pine, right? Or a scent that has orange. So pine and orange, dried orange, that would be really good for creating that kind of woody forest feeling and smell. It creates an immersive experience, right? So definitely go out and get candles in pine with a scent of pine, and yeah, definitely have an immersive experience. And I hope that you have a very beautiful frosty, but keep yourself warm Christmas, and I'll see you in my next video, darling. And if you have been watching this series, I want you to comment down below which one of the Christmas themes that you have already watched that you prefer. Do you prefer this enchanted feeling, or do you prefer a different one? If you prefer the enchanted one, post the emoji of the snow globe. Of the snowflake, of the snowflake emoji. Otherwise, tell me what kind of Christmas theme you love, and I can't wait to read your comments.